All right, John chapter 13, starting from verse 1. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them."
Well, I hope you get the picture. We could go on and talk about a myriad of different expressions of love that some of us are searching for. So my question is, where should we look for love? Where should we look for that deep, rich, satisfying love, that experience of love that when we stop and think about it, we're actually all deeply longing for? Where do we find the type of love that offers acceptance for who we really are? Not some idealised form of ourself that we need to put forward to other people. Where do we find the love that is safe, that is secure, that is ever present? A love that will protect us from harm and anxiety. And where do we find a love that when we actually experience it, we're known and feel loved? See, if love is something that we as human beings are innately wired to experience, then where we find love actually really matters. And what's more, if love is something that transcends our existence, if it's beyond just you and me, then understanding love and how we find it really matters. And I think if you've sought love before and been frustrated in that endeavour, if you've sought love before and as a result perhaps have felt angry or hurt or wounded or damaged, then in your experience, you know there must be a better experience of it. And I think perhaps because you're here today, that is one indication that alone says that you actually do care about finding love. See, how we understand what love is and where we find it really matters. And it matters not just for today, not just for this week, not just for while you're at uni. In fact, I want to suggest to you, it matters into eternity. So today, I want to offer you the love that only Jesus can offer. A deep, rich, satisfying, safe, eternal love. The passage that was read for us earlier is in John chapter 13, where on the night before Jesus dies, he has a final meal with his closest followers. And in this particular section of the Bible, John the writer records for us some of his actions and conversations at this final meal. It's the last time he will eat with his followers, share life with them, and be with them before the next day he goes to die. And in this particular moment, as was read for us, Jesus performs an extraordinary act. He washes the feet of his followers. He takes the role of the lowest of slaves and undertakes that act, washing all of the grime and all of the muck from his disciples' feet. These are the feet that have spent all day wearing sandals, walking through streets with dirt, grime, disease, rubbish, and excrement. This is a group of people who Jesus has been with over the last 3 years. And over that time, they've witnessed Jesus do many amazing things. They've travelled around Palestine. They've watched thousands flock to come and hear Jesus. He's preached the coming of the kingdom of God. He's come into conflict with the religious leaders. He's healed the sick. He's opened the eyes of the blind. He's miraculously fed thousands of people, and he's raised the dead. This Jesus, who has done all this, stoops and washes their feet. See, how does he love them? He serves them. And he does so in a most extraordinary way. He willingly, voluntarily gives up his place as master and teacher and becomes their slave. The one who undertakes the most menial and degrading task for their sake, that they might be clean. Put yourself in the position of the disciples, the followers of Jesus. What must they be thinking? The amazement, the confusion, the incredulity, so much so that when he gets to Simon Peter, Simon initially refuses, says, no, don't wash my feet. He can't understand what Jesus is doing. He wants to resist the loving action of Jesus. And yet Jesus graciously, lovingly, patiently insists, if you want to be clean, you need to have your feet washed. Simon realises what is about to happen and asks that Jesus makes all of him clean, not just his feet. To which Jesus responds and declares him clean. What's going on here? See, in preparation for the meal that they were about to eat, it was necessary for them to have their feet washed. You don't bring all of that into the dinner table. And the very act of foot washing, as real as it was to prepare them to receive the meal, also acts as an example, a model for how each one of these followers of Jesus was from this time on to love and serve each other. Not just in the physical act of washing each other's feet, but in being willing to love and serve by being a servant for one another. Now, as significant as this act in providing a model for the disciples is, Jesus is also pointing to something far more significant. Later on in the evening, Jesus talks with them about what is coming next, his departure, and he has these words 2 chapters later. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. See, as much as Jesus has given them an example to follow in loving service, he goes on to say that there's an even greater love, even greater than the act of foot washing, even greater than being a servant. The greater love is to lay down your life for your friends, the ultimate act of serving. And this is what Jesus does the very next day. He goes to the cross, he dies by crucifixion, and he loves to the extent that he is willing to die for them. This is love. There are lots of voices, I think, telling us how to love. Influencers, social media, parents, friends, peers, perhaps our inner voice. So why then should we listen to Jesus? He's old school, a couple of thousand years ago. Who is he to tell us that this is what love is like? Well, in meeting Jesus, we meet someone who has lived in a perfect relationship with God for all eternity. The Bible describes the Christian God as three persons, one God bound together in perfect love, Father, Son, and Spirit. Within the three persons of the triune God, at the heart of that relationship is love. a love that has been from all eternity. It is that state, that action, that feeling that is at the heart of God. And within this relationship do we see the perfect outworking of love, mutual adoration. He's made you and I in the image of himself. And his intent is that you be included in the perfect, loving relationship that Father, Son, and Spirit have had from all eternity. A relationship of eternal love. Fundamentally, this is who you and I are. This is who we were made to be. This is who we are meant to be. People who love like God loves. So who is Jesus to love like he does? He's the Son of a loving Father. A Son sent into the world to become just like us, fully human, to live like you and I, to experience love and joy and friendship, to smile and to laugh and to be with friends. And yet Jesus also experienced what we experience, what the Bible calls sin, the mess of the world because of humanity not loving God and breaking relationship with him. Jesus experienced all of that as well, just like we do. He experienced trials, sadness, pain, difficulties, hunger, thirst, the loss of friends and friendship, the insults of others, the scorn of people, just like you and I. Jesus, the one from the Father, has gone through the very same thing. It is this Jesus who offers us perfect love. Elsewhere in the Bible, this love is described as a love without fear. See there in the middle of verse 18, there is no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. I want to suggest that one of the reasons why we don't love well is because we're afraid. We're afraid that when we reveal our true selves, our vulnerabilities, our wounds, our hurts, that others will judge us. That when they see who we really are, they will no longer want to love us. And yet in the love that Jesus offers, there is no shame, no fear, no judgment. Jesus sees us for who we really are, who no one else may have ever seen, the person we don't even dare want to look at ourselves. And when Jesus looks at us, what does he say? I love you. His death is far more than an example. It is how God sees us as clean before him, perfectly clean. And in doing so, Jesus' death means we're no longer under the judgment of God, that judgment that was against us because in our natural state we had not loved God as we should have. The love of Jesus towards us in dying means he takes that punishment that would have been ours, which means when we die we need not fear the judgment of God. It is this love poured out in our hearts that removes our fear of shame, takes away our fear of judgment. This is the perfect love that Jesus offers. Coming to meet Jesus and finding love in him is marked by a number of different things. It's marked by true intimacy. Jesus knows us deeply as we are. He accepts us as we are and wants us to know him, to grow in a loving relationship with him, to be genuinely known by him. It's marked by deep trust. Jesus being without fault, his words are only ever true and completely trustworthy. He will never break his confidence. He will never abandon us. His words, as we follow and obey them, bring us life and genuine satisfaction in this life. Meeting Jesus and finding love is marked by steadfast, consistency. Jesus is always present. He always turns up for us in the good times and in the hard times. His words provide comfort. Meeting Jesus and finding love is marked by an eternal significance. See, Jesus promises to be with us always, not just in the current season, but for all eternity. Question to conclude and a challenge. Does the love of Jesus actually work? See, I think one of our biggest difficulties in finding love is not that we don't love. I think we all love. Our problem is we just love wrongly. We look in the wrong places for love. We chase after the wrong things. We seek to love the wrong things. And when we find something or someone to love, we don't do it rightly. I think each of you know that to be true from your own experience. We've all tried to love in some way, and yet it just doesn't seem to always work out for us. Sure, there might be moments or seasons or days when actually we think, yes, I'm genuinely, deeply in love, but it doesn't last. We've all sought to be loved, and it's never as satisfying as we would expect it to be. So here's my challenge. I take it you have a choice. You can keep trying to love and be loved in the way that you have been. You can try harder to love better, but I suspect that fills you with uncertainty, anxiety, and mild fear. Why keep signing up for an unsatisfying experience? So here's my offer to you. Instead of more of the same, come and meet Jesus, the one who loved you by dying for you, the one who is love, the one who offers you and I perfect love. Come and meet Jesus, know his love for you, and experience his love. Some 1,000 years before Jesus arrives on the scene, King David, one of the kings of Israel, writes a song to encourage people to call out to God and to be saved from their troubles. It's a song unlike many of the current love songs that you might hear. This is what David says. He says, "The poor man called and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all of his troubles. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him." Isn't that what you and I need? Isn't that what we all need? We need to call out to the God who made us, the God who loves us, the God who knows us better than we know ourselves, to call out to God and ask him to save us from our misguided ways of loving, to come and experience the love that Jesus offers. Don't you desire to be truly known? To be accepted for who you are and loved deeply? Why would you keep chasing second best when you can have the complete, the perfect love that Jesus offers? So today, my challenge for you is, will you take hold of the love that only Jesus offers? A deep, rich, satisfying, safe, eternal love. In a minute, I'm going to put a prayer on the screen. Oh, there's the prayer. And in a minute, I'm going to pray this prayer. And this might be a prayer that if you know that you've not loved God the way you should have, or if you're continuing to seek to find love in places other than in a perfect relationship with Jesus, this is a prayer that you can pray that comes before God just in the quietness of your own heart and recognises before God, the one who made you and deeply loves you, that you've not actually loved the way you should have. It's a prayer of recognition that Jesus has done all that is needed to re-establish a loving relationship between you and God. And it's a commitment to seek to love the way God intended you to love. In some senses, you can say it's also signing up to be a follower of Jesus, because this is what followers of Jesus have done. They've recognised they've not loved rightly. They've recognised they desperately need God's help. They recognise that God has done everything for them in Jesus, and that they would really like to spend all of their days living the way God intended them to live. So if you'd like to pray this prayer in the quietness of your own heart, you can do so. So I'm going to pray this prayer now line by line. My encouragement is if you're the praying sort of person or you might like to reflect on the words, you can sit and close your eyes, but you don't have to. I'll pray this prayer now. Dear God, I'm sorry that I've not loved you as I should have. Please forgive me. In your love, thank you for sending Jesus to die and rise that I may be forgiven and restored to you. Please help me love you and others as you have commanded. Amen.
Thanks for listening to today's talk. The Evangelical Union, or EU, is a student club on campus at Sydney University that seeks to proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord. To join us or to find out more, please visit sydneyunieu.org.